Hi, I'm Ginger. I live in Las Vegas and I am a tournament poker player, and I want to talk about online tournament poker today. So yes, I've lived here for over 30 years and I've been playing poker in Las Vegas for just over 12 years, which isn't that long, but I've played most of my poker in local casinos. I've played most poker rooms here, and when I started playing poker, I actually played some poker on Poker Stars. This is the very beginning when I was just trying to really understand the game a little bit better. Although I've been playing cards my entire life, the game of tournament poker, No Limit Hold'em, can be very involved, and you're always learning, always, always. I am, I guess, a recreational player or semi-pro. I am not a pro player at this time. This is my opinion on online poker. All right, so online poker. Yes, I have been playing a lot more online poker with this pandemic, but even before that, I was playing online poker. The pros of online poker. So I'll kind of go the pros and cons all at one time. So the pros and cons, the obvious pro is that it's convenient. You can play any time of the day. You can play morning, noon, or night. 24/7. So if you're a night owl, that's good. If you are an early bird, it's there for you. I guess the bad part about that is it could be very addictive. So if you are an online poker player, you need to have self-discipline. And any type of a card player or a game player, you need to have self-discipline. To be successful in life, I believe that you need to have self-discipline and balance. Those are two very, very important things. The other thing that I really love about about online poker is that there are so many tournaments available at any given time. So personally, my favorite types of online tournaments are the deep stack tournaments. The deep stack tournaments I like because you start with a higher chip count and then the blind levels are a little bit longer. That's why they're called deep stacks. So they're a deep stack tournament designed to play longer. So I play low buy-ins. My buy-ins, I play very low buy-ins. My buy-ins are basically $5 to $20. Now, when you play a $5 tournament, it's actually, you're going to do an add-on, most likely, and then you'll do a rebuy. So you're looking more like $15 or $20. The same goes for any of them. And I can play a $30 or a $50 tournament. But when I'm playing online, I like to play the lower buy-ins because it allows me to play more tournaments. And everything's just kind of moving a lot faster, where if I go to a play a live tournament, somewhere downtown, Nugget, Aria, wherever I like to play, you might be buying in for $100, $200, $300, and it's a different story because everything is much slower, much longer there. So again, the nice thing is that you have a variety, the variant of games. You've got the deep stacks. I like the freeze outs. That means that if I sit down to play a $20 freeze out tournament, that $20 freeze out tournament will only cost me $20. I know that. There are no add-ons or no rebuys. I also love the knockout tournaments, and the knockout tournaments, if you play them, most casinos will call them bounty tournaments. So maybe you go to a local casino and you play a bounty tournament, you pay $100 for the tournament, and then maybe there's a $25 bounty. And so you knock that person out, you get that $25. Same thing happens on these knockout tournaments that I play online. And one of my favorites is a nice $20 afternoon knockout tournament. You knock a player out and you get $5. So after you knock out your 4 players, you have your $20 back, and that works out great. Now, the thing that you miss is you don't have the actual chips and the actual cards and the actual magic of the table. So yes, there are a lot of games, but you're missing that. Let's see, we also have, nice thing is that by playing online, you have a high prize pool, because playing online will allow for a lot of players, hundreds of players, to come in, where if you're going to just go play a weekend tournament here in Las Vegas, and you may only get 50 to 150 players. Now, the prize pools are going to always be based on the buy-ins. There's less overhead. The casino is going to have to add on more fees when you're playing in the casino because they have to account for that. Everybody needs to be paid and tipped and so forth. So when you're playing online, you don't have that as much overhead as you would in a brick and mortar casino. So that's another pro and con. When you're playing online, everything moves very quickly. You don't have to wait for the shuffling. You don't have to wait for the collection of the chips. But at the same token, then that might be a con. So you might want things to move quickly. You might want to allow time to breathe and have things move slower and take account for everything going on around you. And there's also another thing that I'm taking into consideration, and that is that I like, and that is when you are playing, that there is no chopping of the pot. Chopping of the pot occurs quite often when you're playing at locals casinos or even downtown or on the strip. When you get down to, let's say, the money, they want to, quite often people want to chop. And I prefer to not chop. I don't want to just chop it evenly and call it a day. I like to play it all the way through because I like tournaments, because I like to win first place. And you can't do that if you chop. But online, you have no choice. You have to play through and you don't get to chop. So that's another thing that I really do like about online. We don't pay the bubble. If you're playing in a casino, quite often, right before you get to the money, it's agreed amongst the players to pay the bubble out of the first place, or just take it off the top, or however you want to. But it's something that must be agreed on by all players. And then one thing, if you're playing in a casino and you chop, if it's brought up, does everybody want to chop? And if I say, no, I don't want to chop, and I'm the one that keeps us from chopping, a terrible thing happens sometimes, which is everybody goes to get that person out. So typically if I'm playing in a casino and people say, do you want to chop? I will say, well, I would prefer to play it through because I love playing the game. But if everybody wants to chop, I will go with the majority. And that's just the way that I work it. Again, all of this is my opinion, okay? So that's how I feel about chopping and online versus live. Another thing is that when you are playing online, you don't have to listen to everybody. You don't have to hear all of their crying, whining, bragging, any of that. So it's kind of nice. You don't have to hear all of that. And you can have your chat on or off. You can take it in or not. And I choose to not. Sometimes I might, because I want to to hear a little bit about what's going on, but basically I don't. So, but the downside of that is that you're not getting that information. A lot of people really, some players really count on that, and they really play the player. Yeah, I'll play the player. But what happens, what I think is very beneficial that happens when you're playing online is it forces you to watch the action at the table. So betting patterns, chip counts. So you're looking at, you're just forced to look at other things. And so I think that really has helped my game. And I think it's an important aspect of poker, tournament poker and online poker. It's something that's happening, and I like that. So it just improves your game of poker. If you're a newbie, online poker is most definitely the way to go. And also, I figure that's obvious, and most of you are aware of it, but you can play for play money in just about anywhere. but you can only play for real money in certain states, Nevada being one of them. So what I love about being a Nevadan is I can play at a casino or I can play online. I have the luxury of making the choice and doing either one. And I love both. I really love both. They both work at different times. So the other thing that is so funny, because I've always thought that the nice thing about playing online is you don't have the germs of all the people around you. You don't have the germs of the cards and the chips. And now we have a pandemic. So it's kind of validating to my feelings on that. But I still think it's important to enjoy the chips and the cards. And I do love that part. But for the time being, it works out fine for me. We have a lot of hardcore professional cash game players that are out there playing all the time. Now, they do have tournaments that are going on as well, but I'm choosing to not take part in those during this pandemic. I'm looking forward to the day that we can get back to the non-partitions. Masks might be there forever, and actually masks are kind of a cool thing at the poker table. So, okay, so that's it. The germs. It's germ-free, but then you're missing the magic of the casinos, the tables. So that's another pro and con. Let's see. I think that's probably most of the pros and cons, the way that I see them, as in regards to online poker. Again, my favorite games online are the deep stacks, the knockouts, the freezes, return. The return is very high because if you are paying $20 for a tournament, I've won $1,000 on a $20 tournament. So I'm sharing some of those screenshots with you, and there are other games. If you really like it to move super fast, there are of course plenty of turbos. I don't really enjoy the turbos because they're a little bit more of a crapshoot, a little more bingo. You don't have as much control over them. There are a variety of games. Again, my favorite are the deep stacks, the freeze outs means you can only buy in one time, no add-ons or rebuys, and the knockouts, those are fun. You only buy in one time and you knock people out and you get an amount. And but there are others, as I was saying, the turbos, those are the really fast-paced games for those people that really like them fast. There are a lot of satellite tournaments, so you can buy into a much lower price satellite tournament, say, I don't know, $20 to go play in a $300 tournament. So satellites, and sometimes satellites into WSOP events, those are great. There are free rolls. Free rolls are crazyville. So free rolls, a free roll, you pay nothing to enter and you can win cash. But it's very little cash, but it is cash. So that's fun for some. And then of course there are the sit and goes. So we have sit and goes, and every online site is going to be a little bit different. As I was saying in the very beginning, I played Poker Stars, and now I play WSOP.com. And in playing WSOP.com, and I'm not sure about some of all the sites are a little bit different, but if you have a big score, a big cash in a tournament, and you want to withdraw your money quickly, because you can just leave it in your bank and play off of it, or however you choose to work it. But if you choose to you want to have your cash, you can just go down to seizures and withdraw your cash, or you can request a check. So Caesar's properties, and I don't know what all of the other Caesar's properties are. I know they're out there, but I would just go to Caesar's and make that withdrawal. So again, I play WSOP.com, and I love online tournament poker, but I also love live tournament poker, and I love circuits. I am not a cash game player, primarily not a cash game player because I don't like and enjoy the grind of that. You can just get in, it kind of goes on forever and ever. I am a competitive person and I like tournament play. I hope that you got something out of this video, made you question, made you aware of some things. There may be some newbies watching, there may be some very avid poker players watching, and you may agree with me or disagree with me. But I think knowing why you like what you like is important. And I think it's also very important to know your strengths and your weaknesses. And we have different strengths and weaknesses, online play and live play. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.